Hey, Shalom. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Kodash. I want to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders who I learned this truth from. I want to say peace, mercy, and blessings unto all of the hopeful elect. The true name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh, which means he exists, that he is to be. The true name of the Son is Yahweh Shai, which means he is the deliverer. We are the Hebrew Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, Seminole, English, Atlantis, Hispanics. We're those people that make up the lost 12 tribes of Israel. The self-proclaimed white man, he's not white, he's red. According to the Bible, they have a biblical nationality, which is Esau, Edom, Idumea, Mount Seir. All right, and this is 2nd Esdras chapter 6 and verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. So as these, twin boys were coming out, imagine Esau being born, she pushes out Esau. Then as, the other baby's coming out, the baby's holding on the heel of Esau, man. Okay? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And this man, he's truly the end. And you can see it in all facets, all areas of life. His rulership is destroying the planet. Right, this is an article from Shed the Fan Plan. It reads, our ultra-toxic society is killing the birds and the bees. Okay? It says, our ultra-toxic society is slowly but surely, slowly but surely killing virtually everything that lives on this planet. As you will see below, North Babylon has lost almost 3 million birds since 1970. Okay, and that's actually very spiritual, because when you think about, the three, Revelation speaks about a time period of 3.5 years, which you can say 16, 19, 16, 20, and that, it will bring you to the year 1970. That's also the year that Esau began to do his thing with NASA, and, so-called going into space, the different Apollo missions, him landing on the moon, okay? And it speaks about, actually, let me get that, because I think it's right here in Obadiah. This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, and I'm going to get right to the point, verse 4. So thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and that's we know that's the national symbol of America. We know it's also the symbol of Rome and ancient Greece, the eagle. And though thou set thy nest among the stars, and he's really done that. All right, shit. Now, here in 2025, guess what? There's a space force. We see. July 16th, 1969. Okay? July 16th, 1969. Okay? Apollo 11. All right? July 20th, 1969. One giant leap for mankind. Okay? There were 6 crewed landings between 69 and 72, and numerous uncrewed landings. All crewed missions to the moon were conducted by the Apollo program, when the last departing the lunar surface in December 1972 after Lunar 24 and 76. There was no soft landings on the moon until Change 3 in 2013. Now, we know they never landed on the moon, but this is what the narrative that they're pushing to the world, and this what also hold broad great admiration for America, their scientists, their technology. It says in Revelation 13, all the world wandered after the beast, you know. Space first created December 20th, 2019, right? Just a few months before the whole scamdemic. They created a Space Force, okay? So he really did set his nest among the stars, Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, said Yahweh Shem Yahushai. But since then, his kingdom has been going down, since the 70s, okay? Back in the article, it says that is not a misprint. You may have noticed that the birds aren't singing as much as they once did. That's because we have billions fewer birds than we once did. And growing up as a child, which I grew up down south, Louisiana, then I moved to upstate NY as a teenager, about 15, 16. Growing up down south, I noticed, berries, fruits, nuts would grow in the backyard. You'll see a lot of bugs. You'll see, of course, down south is different from upstate, but, you'll see a lot of bugs, reptiles, lizards, squirrels, birds. You don't see none of that shit today, man. The things I remember growing up, experiencing, catching lizards, seeing all type of bugs, dragonflies, wasps, hornets, all right, bees. See, we had bees in our backyard too. I remember getting stung by bees, Nowadays, people ain't getting stung by bees like that because there ain't no fucking bees, You don't hear birds like that because there's mass birds. The birds are dying off en masse, It says that is not a misprint. You may have noticed that the birds aren't singing as they once did. That's because we have billions fewer birds than we once did. Of course, we're killing off the bees too. From 2023 to 2024, beekeepers in the U.S. lost an estimated 55.1% of their colonies. We're now facing a very serious bee emergency, but you rarely ever hear about this on the news. Our world is literally dying. Right? You saw the end of the world, right? With this, as long as this man is sitting on the rulers on the power seat, the world will continue to die. Okay, but hardly anyone seems to care. We have been saturating our air, our soil, our food, and our water with deadly poisons, and as a result, we are facing mass extinctions on a planetary scale. Maybe you don't care about the billions of birds. Maybe you don't care that billions of birds are dying. But you should, because birds pollinate our food, they disperse vast number of seeds, and they are crucial for pest control. Unfortunately, there are 112 species of birds that have lost more than half of their population in the last 50 years. That's because the wicked is in rulership, This is Isaiah 24:1. Behold, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai maketh it empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattered abroad the inhabitants thereof. And we have all been scattered through war, famine, drought. But according to the curses of Deuteronomy 28, the Israelites will be scattered, all right, through slavery, war, curses. Okay, Now, the bulk of our people are here in America. The great salvation of the Israelites is going to happen in America, right? 2, and it shall be as with the people, so as with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. 3, the land, right, the Most High is not a respect of persons. You know, the land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai has spoken this word. 4, the earth mourned and faded away, the world languishes. Let's look up what this word languishes means.
Strong's H 535. Amal. Amal. Gesenius Lexicon. Amal. Amal. Or Amael. Amael.
And that means to be weak, to be exhausted, okay? To be or grow feeble, to languish. Okay, so not only are the saints worn out, the earth is exhausted. The earth is worn out too. Okay, from the wicked rulership of Esau. 5, the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore had the curse, right, in Salakia. I mean, skip over that. But prime example of a way that Esau is messing up the earth is he don't honor the land Sabbath, man. Leviticus 25, the Sabbatic year, in the year of Jubilee. And Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua spake unto Moses Mount Sinai, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When you come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto the Lord. Okay, so when you get the land, okay, there's a year, okay, when the land needs to rest. The land must be given rest, man. Esau doesn't give nobody a damn rest. Nobody. Okay, nobody, buddy. No, nobody. We're continually worked to the bone, and what you might get a week or two of vacation that you're not going to be able to enjoy. You work until you're 67. You're about to die soon. Okay? So nobody gets a rest here, man. Okay? The earth is not getting the rest. The animals is not getting the rest. Okay? The scripture says that this is not our rest. It literally says that. But Esau, this damn devil, he's going to make sure you have no rest. The little days you do have off, you got to do laundry, clean your car out, do errands and shit. 6 years thou shalt sow thy field, and 6 years thou shalt prune thy vineyard and gather in the fruit thereof. So you're supposed to be working, all right, the land, 6 years, all right, storing stuff away, okay? Because in the 7th year, that land is supposed to rest, right? But in the 7th year shall be a Sabbath of rest unto the land, a Sabbath for Yahweh, okay? Thou shalt neither sow thy field nor prune thy vineyard, okay? And to go to a deeper level, Esau has the spirit of Cain, okay? Because reincarnation is biblical, right? So when you read the story of Cain and Abel, those two boys, all right, or men, they came back as the boys, Jacob and Esau, right? That's how they came back. This is the book of Genesis chapter 4. I'll get right to the point. Genesis 4:8, and Cain talked with Abel, his brother, and it came to pass that when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. That's the spirit of Esau, to kill his brother. Okay, the Israelites, because they, when you think about Jacob and Esau, they came out the same womb, so they had the same mom and dad. Okay, but according to Genesis 25, it said that they were going to be separated. Okay, Genesis 4:9, and the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not, am I my brother's keeper? And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood cried unto me from the ground. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which had opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. 12. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. So Esau is not really, Esau is cursed in the earth too. Okay, so he's not really he's not getting the best out of the earth, which is why he has to use Monsanto seeds. He has to use, all these different methods, because he's cursed. Okay, a fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. Right now is the quick point I wanted to get. 25, Leviticus 25:5. That which groweth of its own accord of thy harvest, thou shalt not reap, neither gather the grapes of thy vine undressed. For it is a year of rest unto the Lord. Right? So you're supposed to have a year of rest. Right? Here in America, barely anything grows on the fucking trees. Okay? Nothing is growing on the trees, man. Okay? The earth is dying. It's languishing, okay, under the rulership of Esau. You have something called black fatigue, which you've been hearing that a lot lately. Okay, okay, maybe I had got that wrong. I actually thought it was how these other nations felt about, you know, the way our people be acting, like the woman twerking in Lululemon, etc. You know, but anyway, this is white fatigue. we're tired of Esau's rulership, and so-called white people know it. This is Isaiah 24 and verse 5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, right? All of the laws, all right? The Most High has given us laws on how to take care of the earth, how to law, statutes, and commandments, how to govern and take care of ourselves. Everything's literally in scriptures, but it's not being followed. Okay? The earth is also defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Verse 6. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. So that's what this article is telling you about, man, how the curse devoured the earth. Now the soil is toxic. The air is polluted. It's poison. Our food and our water, all right, are filled with deadly poisons, man. Okay? And back in the article I read, it says, and we are facing mass extinctions on a planetary scale, right? It says the 2025 State of the Birds report released in March by a coalition led by the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, right? Which, if you're an ornithologist, that means you're a person who studies birds, okay? And detailed in a universally released on phys.org, found that bird populations continue to decline. More than 1/3 of bird species are considered of high or moderate conservation concern, and 112 species are labeled tipping point birds, meaning they have lost more than half of their populations in the last 50 years. Okay? Why are more people absolutely horrified by this? I just don't understand. It is being reported that we have literally lost almost 3 million birds since 1970. Birds tell us that we have a full-on emergency across all habitats, said Marshall Johnson of the National Audubon Society. The data builds on the 2019 finding that North Babylon has lost nearly 3 billion, not million, okay? Not thousand, not 100,000, 3 billion birds since 1970. You know, needless to say, the birds aren't killing one another. Our ultra toxic society is doing this, right? You talk about toxic masculinity, you know. Our poisons are killing the birds, and we are being warned that 1/3 of all bird species will be extinct by the end of this century. This is a general consensus among ornithologists that if anthropogenic activities continue, as current trends suggest, 1/3 of all bird species and an even greater proportion of bird populations will be rendered extinct by the end of the 21st century. What would a world with no birds be like? Well, Esau, he'll fucking make all mechanical birds. And he'll make them look real, too. You swear to God, it's a real fucking pigeon or a hummingbird or a sparrow. It's a machine, you know? I said you might not want to think about that because of the path that we're on. Meanwhile, we are killing off bees at a staggering pace, too. What do you mean, we? All right? Esau is. The devil is. It's not a we. You know, niggas do a lot of stupid shit, but they're not killing off birds and bees. You know, this is the book of Hosea, it's 4:1. Hear the word of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, ye children of Israel. All right, and we know we mainly prophesying to our people, showing them their transgressions, telling them to repent, telling them that, you know, there's a remnant, you know, as it says in Isaiah, such that are escaped of the house of Jacob. Only a remnant shall return. Though our people be as the sand of the sea, only a remnant is returning. You know, Adoram Ratazah, that's to say Lord's will in the Hebrew. You know, I'll be part of that remnant. You all out there, be part of that remnant. You know, for the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai had a controversy. When you look up this word controversy. Okay.
Strong's H7379, Riv,
A quarrel.
and second entry, Riv, and third entry, Riv.
Meaning what? Case at law, controversy, quarrel, strife, dispute. The Most High has a quarrel with the land. Okay? The Most High had a quarrel, a case at law, with the inhabitants of the land. Because there's no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai in the land. If you had knowledge of the Most High, you'll know about the Sabbath law. You'll know how to treat the earth. You people would know how to treat each other. They say that the Bible is the rock of this land, but it's not being used to govern this land. Okay? Then other nations are following after America. 2, by swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out and blood touches blood. Now, of course, it's applied to wicked-ass Israelites in the land. Okay? We can now apply this to America. This is very big here, too. 3, therefore shall the land mourn, the whole world at this point, and everyone that dwelleth therein shall languish, meaning be worn out, exhausted, grow weak, okay, be diseased, you know, with the beast of the field and with the fowls of the heaven, yet also the fishes of the sea are also shall be taken away. There's a lot of animals that are beaching themselves, And that's pretty much when an animal, you know, like goes on the beach and it just dies, you know. So this is happening, man. I just looked up 2025 mysterious dying birds. Smithsonian Magazine, 7 days ago. Birds are dying. Mysterious violent deaths in this northern Cali. USA Today, birds are dropping dead from the sky in San Francisco Bay Area. Newsweek, May 13, 2025. More than 50 birds mysteriously explode in California. What is happening? You know, the Stockton record, exploding birds. East Bay residents demand answers over mystery deaths. You know, this is from February 19, 2025. More than 150 killer whales stranded on remote Australian beach. You know, so a lot of animals are so-called mysteriously dying, but we know why they're dying, all right? It's because Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed, okay? This is from May 12th, ABC News, the ABC 7 News. It says, on Saturday, April 26, 2025, at about 5 p.m., Contra Costa deputy sheriffs were dispatched to the 6100 block of Bernard Ave in an unincorporated Richmond for a report of suspicious circumstance. A resident reported multiple birds were electrocuted when they landed on a power line, which is bullshit. Because there's cases of them mysteriously exploding, you know? It says birds are dying mysterious, violent deaths in this Northern California neighborhood, and no one can explain why. Residents of Richmond, a city in the Bay Area, say they have watched dozens of birds drop dead in recent months, you know? Residents of Northern Cali neighborhood are growing increasingly concerned about a string of mysterious and often violent bird deaths that seem to have no obvious explanation. In recent months, at least 50 birds have died. Okay, I'm not going to go into all of this because there's some more points I need to hit in the article. Okay. It says, meanwhile, we're killing off the bees at a staggering pace too. Bees are dying and at an alarming rate. Between 2023 and 2024, U.S. beekeepers lost an estimated 55.1% of their colonies, the worst loss in more than a decade, and nearly 15% higher than the previous 13-year average. Did you know that more than 1 billion pounds of pesticide is sprayed in the U.S. each year? 1 billion, okay? It's 1,000 times larger than 1 million. Every year, we just add another layer of pesticide on top of all the layers of pesticide that we are sprayed in previous years. And this is destroying the earth, the ecosystem, you know, natural habitats. It's disrupting everything, right? That's why it says in Revelation, he is as how it's written, he is as death, and hell follow with them, you know? Now bees are dropping dead in unprecedented numbers and has enormous implications for the future of humanity. Jeff Pettis, president of API Mondia, the International Federation of Beekeepers Association, sums up the health benefits that bees offer humans in one word: huge. Although 2/3 of our diet comes from carbs, crops like rice, wheat, and corn, which are pollinated by wind rather than insects, many other important foods require bees. So we're not going to starve if we don't have bees. That's Esau's mentality. No, but hey, what about the millions of people that do starve? And it says that in Esdras. Many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine. Meaning a lot of people are going to starve to death, man. And this is going to help speed up the famine, you know. But literally everything you can think of that's nutritious, fruits, nuts, veggies, all of those, as we call it, animal pollinated, the vast majority of those are pollinated by honeybees or other wild bees, he told the Epoch Times. What would a world with no bees look like? Let's hope we don't find out. And I believe there's an episode on Black Mirror where they had a world with no bees, so they had to create mechanical bees, to pollinate, you know. But if we continue to do what we have been doing, we will eventually kill everything, and that includes ourselves. He's a waster. When you go to Isaiah, say, I created a waster to destroy it. Esau, Joshua wasted away his sea. And this goes into sleepy, creepy having the C word. you know. This second Esdras 14 and 17. For look how much the world shall be weaker through age. So much the more evils shall increase upon them that dwell therein. Okay? It's because we're at the end, and the wicked and the rulers. That proves that Esau has the earth right now. It has to be the end. Okay? If this man continues on the path he's going, everything will die. This Revelation 11 and verse 18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and to them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. So Esau, you're destroying the earth. You were getting ready to be destroyed, and the Most High shortening your days, This is Mark 13 and 20. And except that the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai shorten those days, no flesh should be saved. But for the elect's sake, whom he had chosen, he shortened the days. So, I want to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh Shem Shai. I pray this lesson has been informative and edifying. I want to say peace, mercy, and blessings, hopefully.